Before the words, before the tactics, and even before the strategy, there is something that makes all of it work or none of it work. And that is called presence. And today's guest has built her entire career around proving that most of us have never truly experienced it.
Imagine how a person would feel that even everything else is going on, that the only thing that's important at that moment is the individual that you're speaking to, because it allows you to hear and see what they are not saying.
Linda Clemons is a body language expert, best-selling author, and one of the most captivating communicators alive. Her book, called Hush, How to Radiate Power and Confidence Without Saying a Word, became a USA Today national bestseller the old-fashioned way. No morning show appearances, no massive PR machine, just a message that is so powerful that it's spread on its own. And in this conversation, Linda breaks down why the most important thing you can do in any conversation, whether it's at work or at home, is simply be there fully.
When you are fully present, you choose to be able to control what distractions that you allow in your mind and your space.
She explains why the signals we send without saying a single word can either open every door in the room or quietly close them all. And she makes a case that presence isn't a personality trait, it's a skill, one that you can build. And once you develop that skill, it changes the way that people will experience you forever.
When we lead with the intellectual, when we lead with that heavily, something else is missing. Quite often, because with the ego gets us all puffed up, then we miss out on that emotional connection.
So if you're a person who thinks that communication is mostly about what you say, Linda is about to respectfully prove you wrong. Let's dive in. This episode is brought to you by Granola, Shopify, HomeServe, and whatnot. If you want to stay fully present in every meeting while still walking away with clear, structured notes, try Granola. Try it free for 3 months at granola.ai/Kwame. If you own a home, HomeServe administers plans that cover the repairs your regular insurance doesn't. Plumbing, HVAC, electrical, and more. Enroll today for 50% off your first year at homeserve.com/Kwame. If you're building a business or just looking to sell more, Whatnot is the largest live shopping marketplace in the country. Download the Whatnot app today and get free shipping on your first order. Just search WHATNOT Whatnot in the App Store and start scoring amazing deals. Ready to launch or grow your business? Start with Shopify, the commerce platform behind millions of entrepreneurs worldwide. Sign up for your $1 per month trial at shopify.com/Kwame. So you have gone around the world.
Yes.
You've spoken to millions at this point,
Yes.
have heard your voice and listened to the message. I'm sure when you think about your work, there are certain stories and people to come to mind. When you think about the story that best exemplifies everything that is in the book Hush, what is that story?
Oh my gosh. There's so many different stories, but may I share a story that's not in the book, that didn't make it in the book, because it was like an afterthought. I have the opportunity to speak at a high school in Michigan, and with the young people, and there were about I think it was 700 students. And it was a wonderful opportunity to bring the young adults up on stage. Says, look, summer's around the corner and you all are going to be prepared for your job interviews and you want to make sure that you show up. So, and during my presentations, I always bring up volunteers because my presentation is interactive. It's a little bit different than most other body language experts because I use the other gifts that I have in addition to the expertise that I have to take it to a different level and give them a different experience. But what happened that particular day after my presentation, a young boy comes up he was sitting up in the balcony and he runs down, running backstage in the auditorium. And of course, the people that were working at the door says, Miss Clemons has to go. And I said, no, I don't have to go when it comes to a young adult. Never have to go. I always have time. And so this little boy, He proceeds to begin to talk to me and says his eyes wide open. So, eyes wide open could mean a couple things, fear, surprise, what have you. But his little eyes wide open and says, it was really amazing how you brought the people up there, and you can tell from their body language if they have confidence, if they're excited, if they're afraid. And he's asked me this question that rocked my world at that moment. He asked this question: can you tell from someone's body language if they no longer want to live? Oh my God. See, look at your reaction. You were see your body language, you were literally taken aback. And I stood there, and I got to tell you, chills were going through my body. What kind of question is that? It was a question for help, of course. So, of course, I said something to the principal. The superintendent was there. And I got to tell you, later on, they found in his drawer at home, after talking to his parents, the child had been troubled. So at that moment in his life, there was a fascination looking at a woman up on stage that was bringing his fellow classmates up on stage. And oh my gosh, she was able to look at their heart and not at their exterior. Maybe I'm going to take a swing at it. Maybe I'm going to go backstage and ask her this question. And Kwame, they found letters that we would look at as suicide notes. The child was troubled. Needless to say, they got him help. Thankfully. But what if I was in, and I tell this to all my speaker friends, what if I, at that moment, was in a diva mode? Diva for the women, Devo for the men. What if I was in a diva moment and says, no, I don't have time, and would have missed that moment? So the lesson that you will find throughout the book, that in the area of communication, be it personal, social, professional, either in negotiation, sales, or just being able to connect with another human being, is learning to be 100% present in their presence. Oh my gosh, what you find out is amazing when it could be a storm could be going on, an earthquake could be taking place, everything that's going on all around you. Do you know, can you imagine how a person would feel that even though everything else is going on, that the only thing that's important at that moment is the individual that you're speaking to? And why is that important? Because it allows you to hear and see what they are not saying. When I say hear and see, hear. So if you guys ask me, so Linda, how you doing? And now understanding, Kwame, if you know my baseline, and when I use the term baseline for those that are watching this wonderful presentation, this wonderful podcast, when I say baseline, that is the norm. That's who a person is. Their norm, their base, without any stress. It's their norm. So if I come into work or come into the office every day and I'm singing one of my favorite tunes, I do it on Monday. Then I'm coming in, here she comes again, like she's about to do a concert on Tuesday and Wednesday. But all of a sudden, you notice, okay, wait a minute. Okay, Linda just walked in on Thursday and she's not singing. Okay, maybe a one-off. And I do it again on Friday. That's an indication that I'm off base. So every one of you that are watching, you know the baseline of your loved one, your spouse, your partner, your wife, your husband, your significant other. You could tell, you could pick up on the phone, hey, how you doing? I'm okay. No, you're not. I can tell. Because if my baseline is normally up and I'm jovial and happy, you know when the tone goes down. So when you are fully committed to being 100% present in someone's presence, not only are you looking at their little face, the little 43 facial muscles in their little face. When you say something, you might have hit a nerve and you see an eyebrow flash, or you perhaps they may lock the lip, cover, or do a lip compression. You'll notice you might have said something and they might have responded verbally, according to Dr. Maharabian, with the words that maybe just 7%, but something else is not right. And then you're thinking, okay, I heard the words, but something's not right. And that's your primitive part of the brain that through the tonality and through the movement that tells you, my friend or this individual is off base. So that's what you're going to find throughout the book. Little things that you're going to say, oh my gosh, I've experienced that. I've experienced that at work. I've experienced that with my neighbor, my coworker, family member, friend, the person that I'm dating. And then it allows you to see what's really going on when you see it in the lives of others through the stories and the strategies and the techniques that are on the pages. See, the reason why if someone says, I used to say to some of my team members, and I have to say, some of the guys, but only a small percentage of the guys, but a lot of the females, particularly if they were in a meeting or in the boardroom and something was said and it hit the mind and it showed up in the matter. Write this down, everyone. The moment that you think it, you ink it. Okay? Like if he's crazy what he's saying. If you're thinking that in your head, it shows up in your face. So I would have to text a coworker or friend, fix your face, girl. Fix your face, because the expressions, and Kwame, in the negotiation, how much facial information can give away the leakage that comes out, and the muscles that if you propose something and the reaction and the shift. So going back again, I know it's a long answer, but I feed you generously. I feed you generously. You're not gonna leave here on this show today hungry, because I'm feeding you generously. But here's what takes place when you know the base. That's why you'll have people in an office, or you may have a team of lawyers, because I work with a lot of lawyers. You may have people in the office, someone who is so heavily in their left side of the brain may not be as much as connected to someone that has more weight in their right side of the brain. Well, you didn't realize what you said in the meeting. It offended Harriet. It offended Mary. It offended Harry. I don't know how to figure that. I mean, everybody knows the deal, you see, and because of their tone and not realizing it. So what it does, it allows you to be able to almost have Linda in a pocket. Since there's not an app for that, you got Linda in a book that's telling you, in this situation, here's what you want to do. If this takes place, here's what you want to do, and to have that awareness. But the key thing is learning to be present, 100% present, and others present. And the other thing is creating an awareness of your own nonverbal cues. So if someone says, every time someone asks you that question, and you clam up. No, I don't. No, I don't. Yes, you do. You get on the defense. No, I don't. I don't get on the defense when every time someone asks me that question. You're doing it now. And so often, it's so hard to see the picture when we're stuck in the frame.
Well, for the person listening, if you have not bought the book already or booked Linda to speak, I don't know what you're doing. This is so rich. I don't even know where to begin. But let's start off with presence, because that's where it should always begin. Because what I've recognized, Linda, is that we need to break this down. Because you've hit us with a level of sophistication and brilliance where people can understand that it is brilliant, but it's difficult to understand the depth of it. Because when we say presence, it seems pretty easy. But I think it is deceptively difficult, yes, to the point where people don't even fully understand that they have rarely experienced this in their life, especially beyond the age of 10, 12, 18. We're so easily distracted, and we've become so acclimated to distraction that we don't truly understand what it means to be present. So let's start with this. Let's start with the misunderstandings around that term. Right. Where do they begin?
So one of the things that you want to keep in mind when I used to say to my team, I says, now look, when you show up to the meeting, I need you to be fully present. Oh, yeah, we're coming. No. You hear what I said? I didn't want to get a confirmation on whether you're attending. Oh, you're going to be there. The meeting's mandatory. But I want you to be fully present, and what that simply means, because some people may not know what does that mean. A focus on one given thought at any given time. When people say, I got a lot of things on my mind, that multitasking is for those in the computer industry, okay? It's not for us. That's for technology, right? So when you are fully present, you choose to be able to control what distractions that you allow in your mind and your space. So a distraction goes like this. I'm sitting in the meeting. Kwame is speaking, and I'm thinking, oh gosh, I wonder if I can get out of the meeting be over in time for me to go in the bank. You haven't heard a thing that you are saying. That's a distraction a thought that you allowed to be able to come into your mind when I'm supposed to be listening to you. Now, but Linda, but how do you do that when we've got so many things that are going on? When I tell people this, so if I say, look, Kwame, we're going to this meeting, and between you and I, there's going to be a word that's going to be said because they got a contest going on later on and they're testing us. But I'm just letting you know because you my dude. And here's the word. The word is green. So when the speaker mentions the word green, then anyone in the meeting that remembers the color, when he says, "Do you remember the color that I mentioned?" they're going to get $1,000. Guess what? When you realize that there's something in it for you, oh, your focus changed. Forget about the bank closed. Forget about picking up Pookie after work. Forget about doing this. Forget about walking the dog. Is the moment when we find out what the win is for us, then we're able at that moment to be able to be focused and be present. Because guess what you're doing now? You are leaning in. We lean in towards things that we have an interest, curiosity, intrigue about, and away from things that we're either taken offended by, or shocked about. We're taken aback. So think about this. So now, when I gave you that little prep there, and that's a little sneaky way, right? Somebody's gonna say, "Oh, I'm gonna do that for my team," but that's a little sneaky way. But it's with them. That's the old adage. What's in it for me? So the moment that I said, so listen for that word. You can't listen for the word if you're thinking, okay, look at my eyes going up because I'm going into visual mode. Okay, I got to pick up my cleaning. They close at this. I got to do this and this and that. Oh my gosh, I got to go by and pay the bill. I can't hear the presentation, but I'm listening for the word green. So I got to be present. So even if the person besides me, how long is this meeting gonna last? Because I'm trying to listen for the word. I'm even the distractions that are present. Do you ever have somebody make a loud noise and you go like this? What is that? Because I'm focused. I'm waiting for Kwame to say green. So we could listen. If you can identify it, everyone listen. I get passion. Kwame, you got me going just on a simple question of presence. Listen. If you can identify whatever your problem is, like, man, it's so hard for me to stay still in these meetings and focus on because the person is talking is monotone, or my attention span, I just can't do it. If you can identify it, that means you conceived it. You've accepted whatever that was. Conduct allowed is conduct approved. So you accepted what that was. So if you conceive that thought, and I call it, you conceive that baby, and then you turned around and explained to me what it was, that means you named it. Okay. So you conceived it. Then you named what the problem was. You even gave it a little name. You gave it a name. So my logic is, if you can conceive it, that's your baby. So that's your problem. That's your issue. And you named it. Then I truly believe that you have the power to tame it.
As a negotiator, presence is everything. The moment your attention splits, even for something productive, like capturing every word of a conversation, you lose ground. And for a long time, that was the real tension in high-stakes meetings. I felt like I could either be fully in the conversation or I could make sure nothing fell through the cracks. Granola ended that trade-off. Granola is an AI-powered notepad built for people who want to perform at their best in every meeting. And here's how it works. You take your own notes, the way that you normally would, capturing what matters to you, and in the background, Granola securely transcribes the whole meeting. And when it's over, it brings everything together into clean, structured, actually useful notes. What was decided, who owns what, and what comes next. And because Granola works through your device's audio, it integrates seamlessly into whatever video conferencing tool that you're already using. No new setup, no extra apps jumping into your call. It works alongside you, invisibly. The first time I used it, I noticed something almost immediately. I was more engaged, asking sharper questions, listening more strategically. Because I wasn't splitting my focus, I was fully present. Granola isn't there to think for you. It's there so you can think better. If you want to show up sharper in every meeting, try Granola free for 3 months at granola.ai/Kwame. That's granola.ai/Kwame to get your time back. Get 3 months free at granola.ai/Kwame. You know what's fascinating to me? The most effective negotiators and the most effective sellers have one thing in common. They make the other person feel seen. And that's exactly what's happening on Whatnot and why this platform is growing the way it is. Whatnot is the largest dedicated live shopping marketplace in the country. You go live, you show your products in real time, buyers ask questions, and you answer them, and they keep on coming back. Not because of a listing algorithm, but because of a real connection. What's really compelling about the model is the scale that it creates. Sellers on Whatnot are moving 10 times more product than on other major platforms. The number of people hitting over $1 million a year has doubled, and buyers spend more than an hour a day in the app. Beauty, collectibles, electronics, luxury, fashion, full categories, full communities, all happening live. If you're building a business or looking to start one, this is really worth paying attention to. Download the Whatnot app today and get free shipping on your first order. Just search Whatnot, WHATNOT, in the App Store and start scoring amazing deals.
Or if you need to, reframe it. That's why when they speak, you got to be careful what you speak, because the tongue is connected to the speech center of the brain. Oh, I'm not going to make it. I'm not going to get the job. Baby, your subconscious will bring that into reality. So you can reframe it all. So being present, I let folks know. If I don't sit next to someone who I know is going to be chatty, turn around, what do they say? What do they say? I'm going in intentionally because I got some intel that I need to listen for the color green. So while I'm giving you that example, it tells me and it tells you that you can focus when the why and the emotional motivator is bigger than anything else.
See, this is what people needed to hear. Because the thing is, it's not an issue of capacity, although we will often say it is. It is an issue of desire, drive, focus, but also value. Because think about the example that you gave. We see value in the $1,000. This is a treasure hunt. We're hunting for treasure, right? Okay, $1,000 for the word green. I don't even care about the person who's talking. I just care about that word. And this is why having a lack of presence, not listening, is so disrespectful. Because truly what you're saying is that I cannot even comprehend the value of paying attention to you right now. The little thing that's in my head is so much more important than you that I would rather float along in my mind than listen to the sounds that are coming out of your face. Why are you even here? Like I don't even care about you. That's what we're saying. As much, and then we double the disrespect by saying that we value the person that we're actively ignoring or not being present for, right? So this is critical. And so again, it goes to desire. And let's think about the other side too, because we talked about presence.
Let me ask what you just said, because your
go ahead.
app was so beautiful. It was so beautiful. Thank you. So, and I want everyone to ask themselves this question: can you name an Olympian, a gold medalist? That could be the gold, the silver, or the bronze, doesn't matter. But specifically a gold medalist that wasn't present when they were going for the gold. I don't know. Maybe we have to Google it, see if it's a trivia. I don't know how I got here. I just won this gold medal by I was about to order a double-decker sandwich and I just ran across thing. No. Can you name me one champion? And I remember late Kobe Bryant was sitting on the bench, and I think it was Chris Rock was this video somewhere was just the top chatting, and he was like this. He was so focused in. So just name me one champion, and maybe I'm not up on all my trivia, but name me one champion, specifically a gold medalist that won the gold that wasn't fully present.
Brilliance doesn't happen by accident. It doesn't happen by accident. Oh, okay. Let's do this. I want you to paint a picture. Let's create hypothetical communicators. They are all average communicators. So one of them goes through this really robust tactical training. They learn all of these communication tips, tricks, strategies. And then when they're in the moment with the person, they're going through this Rolodex of strategies, and they can figure out what the right thing to do and the right thing to say is. Hey, listen, don't stop smiling. Don't predict what I'm saying next. I see you predicting. Now the other person, same level of skills, and all they do is they focus on presence. They just say, I'm going to listen and be present. Two things, no tactics, no strategy. That's it. I am fully absorbed in your universe. There is no other world but yours, and I'm here with you. Can you just break down the difference in experience of talking to those two people?
Oh my gosh, Kwame. Who was this? Was it Maya Angelou? Who was it that said, people don't care how much you know. They only care, they only want to know how much you care about them. So can you imagine the person with all the technical, the strategies, and that comes, by the way, when we lead with the intellectual, when we lead with that heavily, something else is missing. Quite often, because with the ego gets us all puffed up and we want to let everybody know I'm the person, I'm the man, I'm the woman, how much I know, then we miss out on that emotional connection. I've had men come to me and say to me, I've listened to your session, I've listened to your book, I've watched your examples, and I always had the challenge with my wife, and she was always upset because I'm knowing how I'm the man and her husband, and I'm trying to fix it with my knowledge and everything I know. Until I went home, everybody tell me, give me this big testimonies, that until I went home and she was telling me her problems and I could fix it. I had the answer for it. But at that particular moment, she just needed to hear me, or wanted me rather, to simply listen. There is something powerful when we are tuning in versus wanting to broadcast all the time. There's something powerful. People, you will see the breathing pattern change, Kwame, when a person who's dictating all they know, but this is what you should do, strategy, and XYZ says you should do this, you're looking at them like, okay. And by the way, as more and the more intellect that they dump on you and never acknowledge what part that you may know, or Linda, so tell me what you did, Linda. Okay, good, that was good. Have you considered this? Versus, oh, Linda, you did that, but man, you should have done it this way. You just dismissed my decision-making process and my selection process versus says, Linda, that was good. But have you considered this? That perhaps can add value and take it to another level. If they want to get out all their expertise versus someone who has maybe the same qualifications, but they're listening to the point that they can constantly, I think Disney calls it plusing, add value. So now I want to be with that person versus the other person, because the other person may remind me constantly how imperfect I am.
Mm. Mm. Mm.
You got
it's so good. That's what we were going for. That is what we were going for. And again, it's so easy to forget the fundamentals. And here's the thing. It almost seems backwards for me to be talking in this way as a negotiation trainer who does these sessions, and strategies and tactics, they do have their place. The thing is, though, nothing works if you're not present. If you haven't paid the respect to the person to demonstrate that they are worthy of your focus, nothing else works. You could use every other strategy and tactic effectively, but you create an environment where the person doesn't want to let you have what they know you want.
Absolutely.
It's like, listen, okay, so you are telling me very clearly what I want, what you want. Okay. You are also disrespecting me by not even paying attention to what I want and why. When I talk, you don't listen. You know what? I might not have very much power, but I know what you want and I know how to frustrate that. We often invite the very resistance we seek to avoid. Absolutely. By not being present. And then one of the things that you mentioned that I think is very interesting, because we think about distractions in terms of cell phones, screens. Yes, that is a distraction, but I think this episode is a little bit deeper than put away your phone when talking to people. It's deeper than that. Sometimes the distractions come from within. Absolutely. And we often say, okay, listen to understand, not listen to respond. Everybody has a cognitive understanding of it, but at the same time, most of us still struggle with it.
Absolutely.
What is it that makes that so hard to do? And how can a person get to a point where they can prioritize presence over the perfection of a response?
Absolutely. One of the things that you mentioned, when quite often it's the things that are going on inside of us, one of my spiritual leaders also made a comment one time and said, it's not the enemy outside, it's the enemy. Sometimes the voice that we trust the most can often deceive us, right? Can often deceive us. So it's just like you've got your prefrontal cortex talking to you. That's the big brother, the big sister, and saying, now look, you got to get out there and do this. You got to do this. It's for the benefit of the project that you're working on. And you got to give a little, take a little, blah, 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 blah. Where the insula is wanting you with the instant gratification, the saying into yourself, I got to get mine. You better get yours. You better do it now. So it's like the cartoons we used to watch growing up where they saw the little devil, the little angel. It happens in our head. But we have to remember, what is the outcome that I want? Do I want, and for the person that I'm speaking to, who I'm engaged with, what is the overall outcome? And I'm gonna give you two words here. Do I want them to leave better? Do I want to leave better? Or do I want them to leave bitter? Or do I want to leave bitter? Just two words, if you can remember those two words. Now, what if every encounter, and we can't make everyone happy, but what if every encounter that your goal on this day, that I wake up on this day, I want to make someone else's life better if they come into my presence when they leave it? These are the things, simple little things, that help people become people magnets versus repellents. You and I both know. And there are people that we know that we see coming, that we want to go the other way. Or is it just me? Am I the only one human with this? There are some people that you see coming, you want to jump off on the 32nd floor, and the building only has 20 floors. You're trying to build more floors to jump. But because it's just their energy, their presence, and the way they make you feel. But there are other people that want to be around you, that help you win. That help you win elections, that help you win the head of your organization, help you win the promotion, because by the way you make them feel in your presence and the value that you add. One of the things that when I first met you and did a body language expert and listening to you on the stage and doing a presentation in a room in another country, another part of the world, you had the room captivated. And let me tell you why. So I don't know if Kwame's ever shared with you all, that's been hanging with them all these years. One of your superpowers is not just negotiation. That's your area of expertise. But your superpower, in my opinion, is the way you deliver it. According to the communication theory, and Dr. Maharabian said that our tonality is 38%. Your tone and the texture is rich. You seduce the audience with your tone. So of course, you tell your family, don't. Okay, I'm not flirting with you. I'm just telling them the truth. You seduce it with your tone, but it's not just its tone. Listen, everyone. That when you did your presentation on the stage, when people were meeting you one-on-one, it was consistent. The tone was consistent, as well as the way you deliver it. You were able to deliver data, statistics, all the information that someone could oh my gosh, it could be over my head. You did it in a conversational tone. So whether there was 500, 5,000, or 5 people, everyone wanted to connect with you, that they didn't even think about you being a lawyer. It was never an issue. So think about even certain professions where people may have a bias and think, well, those lawyers and those doctors, they think they're God or they're this and this and that you had the door open that allowed people, and I say this lovingly, to approach the throne because your mastery of tonality. And that's even, by the way, for those that are listening, I know we're talking on a serious tip here. for the men out there and to the women out there, it's very critical in the dating scene, how you master tone. So you may have to do a course, Kwame, on how to be a tone master.
Ooh, ooh, ooh. Oh, this is good. This is good. Well, Linda, let's see how good you are with tone.
Yeah.
Let me paint a picture. This is it is going to be cartoonishly outlandish.
Okay.
But let's say hypothetically,
Okay.
imagine this. You're on stage in front of thousands of people. And there is a high power CEO, globally recognized, millions of followers, has made hundreds of millions of dollars, multiple time best-selling author, just elite mind. It's just you and this guy on stage. What would you do, say, or act to make a man of that power, gravitas, and status melt on stage? And hypothetically, let's say his name is Vishen.
Anyway, you all can find this out, some more juicy stuff in the book. So let's just say, usually power people, they have great posture, right? Because he's sitting there, or he's in the chair or standing. But let's say we're both sitting in the chair together, and then and I'm reading his accolades and his credentials and this, and he's talking about how great and everything. And I began to ask him questions. What was the most pivotal moment in your life that you thought that you would give up, or you would give this up because of someone that love, care, or respect about? Now, the reason why I'm doing that versus I could do it like this. Okay, give me a pivotal moment in your life that you was about to give up on everything because of someone that love, or care about. Just the tone alone, the way I'm asking the question is almost combative. Okay, you got it going on, but have you ever been like us that you almost lost everything? Whatever. See, because people will create based on your tone their own narrative. And so, but I'm not going to just ask them the question. I'm going to do something even more powerful. You shared with us, listen to the tone. I'm getting my Kwame mode here. You shared with us how you started your business and how you rose to the top of the ranks and is one of the most powerful CEOs in the country. You also shared a little bit about the sacrifices that were made. But there was one person in your book. You see that pause? You see that pause? There was one person in your book that almost gave up everything for you to have. You see, so look at you. You see what I did? You see what I did? You see what I did? I allowed that part in that book to affect me, for he felt the emotion, so that emotions are transferable, they're contagious, so that it would catch on with him. And that, it's not on the list of questions that were given me. I just want you to know that I read that book. It was kind of hidden in, I believe, chapter 24. It was the 5th paragraph. Just that one. You look at that. Now, watch this. Let me ask you this. If his shoulders were straight up, sharp, erect, and I go with that tone and the pause, the pregnant pause, what do you think is going to happen with his shoulders? He surrenders, right? You see, did I just soften? Did I just soften that?
Yep.
We're this company, billions of portfolio, this and this and this and that. And I'm talking about all the accolades. But there's one thing, and most people may miss, that you would not be here today if it wasn't for.
Picture this. It's late at night. You're scrolling, and you find that thing that you've been meaning to buy. You add it to your cart, you hit checkout, and then you realize that your wallet is all the way across the room. But that's when you see it, that purple button with all of your information already saved. One tap and you're done. That button is Shop Pay, and it's just one reason why Shopify has the best converting checkout on the planet. Shopify is the e-commerce platform behind millions of businesses worldwide and 10% of all e-commerce in the United States. Whether you're just starting out or scaling up, Shopify gives you everything you need in one place. Inventory, payments, analytics, shipping, returns, no jumping between platforms, no chaos. And Shopify doesn't just sell you, it helps you to get found. With easy to run email and social media campaigns, you can reach your customers wherever they're scrolling or strolling. Plus, their 24/7 support means that you're never figuring it out alone. See fewer abandoned carts and more sales go with Shopify and their Shop Pay button. Sign up for your $1 per month trial today at shopify.com/Kwame. Go to shopify.com/Kwame. That's shopify.com/Kwame. Owning a home is amazing until it's not. One minute everything's fine, and the next you're dealing with a burst pipe, a furnace that stopped working in January, or an electrical issue that just came out of nowhere. And here's the thing, your regular homeowner's insurance, it usually doesn't cover that. The day-to-day wear and tear, plumbing failures, HVAC breakdowns, electrical issues, you're often on your own. And that's where HomeServe comes in. Think of it like a subscription for your home. For as little as $4.99 a month, HomeServe administers plans that have your back when things go wrong. When something on your plan breaks down, you call their 24/7 hotline and they handle scheduling a repair with a local experienced licensed professional, no panicked contractor search, and no scrambling. HomeServe has been helping homeowners like you for over 20 years, and they have a trusted network of over 2,600 local contractors, nearly 4.5 million customers, a 4.8 out of 5 post-repair rating, and an A+ Better Business Bureau rating. So if I ever needed this, and honestly, every homeowner eventually does, HomeServe is exactly what I'd use. Join the millions of customers who trust HomeServe and enroll today for 50% off your first year. Go to homeserve.com/Kwame. That's homeserve.com/Kwame to enroll today for 50% off. Savings compared to renewal price. Void in Florida.
This one person. Now, and I mentioned the name of the person. His shoulders might have been like this on the man, but the surrender, the humanity begins to come out. And that's what's critical. Is it Banta? In what is that? In negotiations, BA?
Oh, the BATNA.
BATNA, right? Right.
Mm-hmm.
But one of the things that when you're acting as a mediator and you're negotiating, you are not only looking at their body language and listening for their response, you are also making note that the strategic questions you ask, if they hit an emotional trigger, and if they do, you're on the right path of questioning. So you'll stay down that line of questioning, or you'll say, that's a little tender spot. You know when to go back. And that's how you be able to capture their emotions and they get the surrender. I created a term called surrender of tells. That's in my book. You're giving me all kinds of good facial expressions. I mean, you got to get this on tape. This is on tape, right? But a surrender of tells that's in the book. And a surrender of tells is like, I'm just like to use a little kid. A little kid goes like this. Did you break your sister's doll? No. Okay. Who broke your sister's doll? I don't know. I didn't do it. Okay. Now that's the surrender. Now the arms folded up, right? That's another little tell. Okay. Well, mommy knows when you being the big brother and your little sister loves you, that her heart would be broken if you were the one that broke her down. Surrender of tales. So people throughout the conversation, when you begin to unlock that emotional thing, that emotional motivator, and everyone, and I've been in sales all my life, and one of the toughest areas, by the way, in sales all my life. But one of the things is sales is 93%, emotional. We justify 7% with logic. And so when you begin to hit those emotional motivators, those dominant buying modes, and for you in negotiation, what they would move heaven and earth for, you'll begin to see leakage throughout the buy. And you'll see surrender of tails. Like, I'm going to be strong. I'm going to have my poker face. I'm not going to give in. And the moment that you say something that triggers that, then all of a sudden flooding. And I talk about it in the book. You're right. I didn't want to get a divorce. I didn't want to do this. Anyway, and now that takes place. Producers cracking up here.
This is so good. This is so good. I don't know. Is it public? The you and Vision on stage when you did that exercise with him?
You remember that when which was that the seductive one that I was doing? Which one was that?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, you made my boy melt.
I made him melt, and then he took a glass of water and just cooling himself and poured it on himself. Yeah.
It was great. It was so good. It was so good. And let's talk about this too, because hey, we are this maybe for somebody who is new to the podcast. We've been around for a while, and this is going to be one of our last episodes. And I don't think we've talked about seduction. And the Hollywood has pinned that term into the sexualized category. But for communication experts, body language experts like yourself, we understand this term in a very different way, a multi-purpose way. So can you break down what that means and why it is so important and also legitimate to utilize some of those elements from time to time in your communication?
Absolutely. And so we all know you can't be seduced without your permission, just like you can't be hypnotized without your permission. So there's something, and every man knows that's watching, there's something biological and physical that can take place if you are attracted to someone. If you are not, a man's not going to eat a sandwich, my granny would say, if he ain't hungry. Okay. Okay. So in the art of seduction, okay. Okay, Linda, naughty girl. Okay. So in the art of seduction, to the women that are out there that are very important, especially to the women, and men, I'm going to give you something as well. But to the women that are out there, I want you to think about how hard you are working in corporate America. And just, it's enough even today, that women, that we get all the opportunities that we deserve based on our qualifications and what we bring to the table. So let's just say that you are in a working environment where it's predominantly male. You may be one of only 2 or maybe 3 females that are in there. And of course, it's like the battle, if you will, because men by nature are competitive. They're hunters by nature. So you're in that environment 8 hours a day. So what do you think happens when you go home to your partner, your spouse, your significant other? And I'm speaking to the women out there, if it's masculine, male, or masculine energy, what happens is when you go home, the first thing that your husband would say, don't bring that up in here, because you're battling, you're bringing that energy there. So what do you think happens when you go out, and if you're single and you want to meet Mr. Right or the person of your dreams, and not online, because people still go out to clubs and they still go out to social events. Yes, you can do it online, and that's a whole nother episode that we need to talk about that. But let's just say you're going out there and then you're standing like, okay, I'm running the joint, and you're sitting there and thinking, okay, let me just check out the scene. Well, look how I'm sitting. Look how I'm sitting. Well, let me just tell you, several of my girlfriends, they used to say to me, the guys don't want to date, they don't want to dance with you because they like to go out to the club, and my girls, they like to dance. My days, I've been there, done that, got the t-shirt. So I said to them, I've never had a problem with a guy asking me to dance. And so this is what they said to me, for those that are listening. Look, they said to me, okay, Miss Body Language Expert, let's see if it's going to work. It's good. That stuff that you teach is going to work. Now, here's what's going on. So we go to the club. The joint was jamming. It was popping. So we're sitting there, and there was an elevated seat, like you go up a little stair there. And of course, the table was there. They were ordering their drinks and their appetizers. And of course, some music started coming on. Music was playing. Now, I want you to understand, my girls were sitting there, legs crossed. Listen up, fellas, because you're listening too. And I want you to take it back to the man cave for the next meeting. They were sitting there with their legs crossed and their arms folded, talking to each other in a club. All these guys there looking for someone to dance with. Now, let me ask you this, just the visual I just gave you. We're in a club. The music is popping. They're sitting there with the little appetizers and the little drinks, the cocktails, and their arms were folded and their legs were crossed. You know what nonverbal message that was sending to every guy out there? Guys, listen up. Ladies, here's the message that it was sending. Your body language was sending, I'm not coming out, because the arms were folded over the power zone, which is a heart area. The heart area is considered a power zone. So your door was closed right there, and your body language and your legs was closed. I'm not saying anything was going to happen that night anyway, but your legs were closed. And then all of a sudden, arms crossed, legs closed, all the doors are closed. And your body language was saying, I'm not coming out, and you're definitely not coming in. So I'm looking at them. And this is what I did. I said, okay, this is my favorite music, honey. That time it was Frankie Beverly and Mays. I said, I want to get out on the dance floor. So I was sitting, and for those of you that are listening, you can practice this right now. If you're sitting in the chair, I want you to scooch up a little bit and sit at the edge of the seat. Think about going to a movie. Think about going to the movie. The movie was so good, and you're sharing what's up. Kwame's doing it now. The movie was so good, and you're telling someone the movie was so good. I was sitting at the edge of my seat. That's called seat ready. Seat ready. I teach young college kids, when you're going to your interviews, don't be slouched back in the chair. Sit at the edge of your seat like you're ready to get into something. So I'm at the edge of my seat, Kwame. Now watch this. And for those that are listening, okay, the music was playing. Everybody knows what chair dancing looks like, right? So I'm dancing in the chair. Now watch my upper body. For those that are just listening to me, my upper body, I'm leaning in. Think about a foot. Just think about a fishing rod. I'm leaning in. I'm pulling back. I'm leaning in, forward, pulling back. And so it's like I'm like a fishing rod, the body language moving forward and moving back. I had 4 gentlemen coming over there asking me to dance because my power zones were open. My heart was open, belly button area open, my upper carriage. When the music, I was moving to the music, move forward, move back. Oh yeah, move forward. Move back. And so it was like a magnetic fishing rod. They were coming over there, and I says, oh my gosh, I can't dance with you all. My girls have no one to dance with. Can some of you dance with that? And then I was like, right. So we don't realize how we are pushing people away simply by how we're standing, how we're sitting. Like, in your office, and people that you work with are people that you see that just don't want to be bothered in that moment. You could go into a meeting, go into an office, and people they'll turn their body at an angle way where their heart is not connected with you. Think about a power zone, the heart area, the belly button. I want you to think about this. It's going to help you remember this in the belly button. The navel connection. Call it the navel connection so you all can remember. The navel connection. Our first connection to another human being was through the umbilical cord. Hello. And so guess what? When the baby is separated from the mommy, guess what you got to do? You've got to cut the cord. But that umbilical cord is still there, human to human. So when we turn away, you're face to face, and then you abruptly turn, you just broke the connection. See, we don't think about the things that we do. But what happens is, when it's on your mind, the amygdala, the reptilian part of the brain, houses a lot of emotions: fear, fight, flight, faint, all effect, all of that is there. All of that is there, but it's for your protection. So automatically, if that is activated and you don't want to be bothered, it shows up. And we look at people if they're friend or foe. But sometimes we get in this mood that I just don't want to be bothered. And they're, okay, I don't want to bother you. I don't want to go over there. He looks like he doesn't want anybody sitting over their area with him. She looks like she doesn't want to be bothered. They create the narrative. And then you come around and say, I just can't get anyone to talk to me. I don't know why. And we miss all those opportunities. So when I'm out, I'm having fun. I'm using all the muscles in my face. I use a genuine smile, and that's using the oculi muscles, the eyes wide open. You see the little crinkles there. My zygomatic major muscles. That's the thing that makes not the pageant smile, When you see my teeth, you see that. And I'm excited about meeting people. But some of us just do the pageant smile, and you all know what that looks like. You see the pageant queens, It don't even lift our natural smile lifts the cheeks. All right. So, by the way, unless you're all toxed up, Botoxy up, that's another show, okay?
There's so much to explore here. So much. First of all, Simone is all hot and bothered. I've never seen him lean in like this in my life. he's so locked into this episode.
Well,
It's
I'm
just
loving
so
him.
good.
He's connected. We're connected.
Yes. And I think one of the things that's so interesting is just let's get down to the foundational level. What are humans? We're animals. We are animals. And really the thing is what you've demonstrated when you're talking about seduction especially is that it's not a choice really. It happens. It happens naturally, right? So like you said, so what was it? You can't be seduced without permission, right?
Yes.
You have to want that. And then sometimes what I'm saying is that you can't help but want that thing, right? And so you understand the psychology, you understand the visual elements, and you can create this atmosphere that is so inviting, dare I say intoxicating, and the person doesn't even fully understand or appreciate why, but they don't need to. They just need to understand that they have been drawn in.
And you know what, Kwame? I want everyone out there that's listening and watching. I want you to keep your head leveled up. So everybody keep your head, when you hear someone says, keep your chin up, keep a level head. So your head straight up. And I want you to look in the mirror or just say to yourself, imagine someone that's in front of you that you care about with your head level and say in your most softest voice, if possible, Linda, I really love you. Linda, I really love you. I'm trying to get it soft with the voice. So just you guys out there, you could say, Linda, I love you, or you can choose who you really love and say their name, right? But just sit with your head level and try to be as soft and seductive as you possibly can. Says, Linda, I love you. But watch what happens if you just tilt the head. Just tilt the head and say, Linda, I love you. You could see even the tone changes when the head tilts. Oh my gosh. Even the tone changes when the facial expressions are relaxed. Even the tone changes and the mind begins to say, you know what? Let's activate something here. And that's the thing that people feel. When you do it just level head, trying to be serious, the level head. That's why, by the way, if you're trying to be serious with your kids, and he says, look, mommy says, dad says, clean up your room, and your head is tilted. Mom says, dad said, your tone changes when the head tilts. The kids are thinking, daddy ain't gonna do nothing. He ain't gonna put me on punishment. When they see that head straight up, they know you're serious. Isn't that something? Even animals know it with the tone.
Oh, this is good. Okay, let's do a quick, before we bring Simone in, let's do a quick body language overview. Okay. So the people listening to this show, we have the business side. They want to be taken seriously. They want to be inviting. They want people to listen when they speak. On the personal side, I mean, there's a wide range of things. I'll let your mind wander there. So when it comes to body language, let's just go do a quick head-to-toe body scan. What are some things that we should keep in mind?
One of the things that you should keep in mind is that make sure that if you want to project authority, you want to make sure that you are standing up straight. Your posture is very, very important. You also want to make sure that when you are trying to engage and motivate people to enroll them, make sure that you have good eye contact if you're speaking to them, even if they're on a Zoom presentation. So you've got like a lot of your team members on a Zoom. Yeah, we're told to look right at the camera. I could still look at the camera and tilt my head as if I'm acknowledging those that are in the room. And the other thing that is very, very important is that getting to build rapport is critical. So if you're in a position of leadership and power and you have a new person that's on your team, they may not know your baseline. So it's critical to be able to build rapport so they can know what your norm is from when you're serious, when you're like in a joking mode, if you will, so they will know. Because if they're kinesthetic in their emotions, if you will, where they lead by their emotions. You tell those people stories. They like to hear stories. They see themselves in the emotional realm. And if you are auditory and really, really direct, and your body language is not giving. When I say not giving, your shoulders, you're not gesturing, you're not moving with purpose. And people say, what do I do with my hands? When you're a leader, and whether you're not a leader or not, when you with your hands, you move with purpose and use your hands to punctuate accentuate, to emphasize, if you will, move with purpose. If you're in the industry, in the financial world, and you're talking about money, your palms need to be exposed when you're talking. You can't, if you're in sales and negotiation and you say, is this absolutely the best deal that I can get? And your hands all of a sudden move off the table. It doesn't matter when you say yes, the body language already spoke. So it doesn't matter what you say, your body language will get in the way. That's if you are a leader. Now, the other thing, and I never forget, I had a client wanted me to come in because there were changes that are going to be made in the company. In other words, they were going to talk about some layoffs. Okay. And one of the things that he said during the presentation, he walked in and he had a suit jacket on. And fellas, listen, for those that still wear the suit jackets, it depends on your work environment. And he made a comment. They said, together, we're in this together. Now I want you to listen, for those that are listening. He said, we're in this together. But when he said the word together, he folded his arms. I want you to all think about what I just said. He said the word 7%. We're in this together. Body language 55, tonality 38. But the body language, he folded his arms. Oh, oh. The brain went, oh. It went, okay. It sent the message. So it doesn't matter what you say, the nonverbal gets in the way. And guess what else he said? Together, we're going to work hard. Even I'm going to roll up my sleeves. Okay, when you roll up your sleeves, he had his jacket still on, and the jacket was still buttoned. The third button, it was buttoned. Would it make sense for him to take off his jacket? Okay, loosen the tie, roll up his sleeves. The visual, we're in this together. That would have been even a more powerful message. See, one of the things that I say all the time, I cannot hear what you are saying because who you are being is getting in the way. I cannot hear what you're saying because who you're being is getting away. You've heard the phrase, action speaks louder than words. You can have something go on in a company. Listen up, everyone. Something go on in a company, but someone else may say, I don't care about his personal life. I don't care about it. All I know is he's come in here and turned this company around. People may remember those few little words if someone puts them in a quote that you might have said, but people will trust and believe what you do. And that is important. So I cannot hear what you're saying because, excuse me, who you're being is getting in the way. You've heard the phrase, action speaks louder than the words. And if my late granny was alive, she'll say, baby, I hear you talking, but I just don't see you walking. Okay? So if your words and your tone and your nonverbal, if all three, here's a soundbite for you. If all three don't agree, there's a disconnect between you and me. So it's very important if you just take a quick course. So what Linda is saying, I want to make sure that my words that are coming out of my mouth, the tone in which I deliver those words, and my nonverbal, my body language, it's like a symphony, like an orchestra. It's like a choir where everyone's on key. It should all be congruent. If there's incongruency, that's when the brain goes, ooh, something's not right. And so just be aware that if you could start with that basic right there. And the other thing that I want people to remember, and Kwame, you know this in negotiation, it can take place. It happens with many people. We are human and we all have biases. We all have biases, everybody that dressed like this is this. Everybody that looks like this is this. Everybody lives on this side of town is this. But whatever that bias is. But here's what I want you to remember with your little biases. You've got to put them on pause. And no matter what your bias is, whether it's positive or negative, I want you to always say to yourself, I must provide the facts to support it. If all curly-headed women are crazy, what are the facts to support that? And that allows you to put your biases on pause and then look at the nonverbal very clearly, because here's what I want you to remember. It's no longer just the color of your skin. It's no longer your gender, your sexual preference, where you go to school, where you worship, the side of town you live on. Yes, we are able to be judged by our nonverbal movements. People have gotten arrested on intent. So it's something to think about. Why did your mom say, look, when you go over your Aunt Emma's, you're going to act like you got some sense? What does that mean? She didn't say, I want you to go and tell Aunt Emma, I've got some sense. I've got some sense. No, Mama said, you better act like you've got some sense.
There's a big difference between saying and doing. Oh, man. Okay, Simone, hold on. One more question. So we talked about incongruency. There are some people who say, well, Linda, the problem is I'm very expressive. So my emotions are written all over my face. And so it makes it hard for people to talk to me because they're talking and I truly am listening, but I'm also emoting at the same time. So my face squinches up and then they just shut down. They stop sharing. And then I say, please just share a little bit more. And they say, no, you clearly don't agree. So we could just end this conversation. So it makes it harder for people to be vulnerable. But I was just born this way. I can't control it. What do you say to that person?
That's so good. And let me tell you what I used to tell my salespeople, because I used to, and for those that are listening, if those that are listening, just hold on to that thought that I'm a young, sweet thing. For those that are watching, all right. I've been in this particular industry for well over 40 years, one of the top sales producers and trainers in the world in the resort industry. And an easy word for that is timeshare. So one of the best in the world in my industry. And one of the things I used to say to my salespeople all the time, and they would come if they didn't get the deal, Kwame, they didn't get the deal. And I said, so tell me what's going on with the client. Well, they said this and this and that. Okay, well, they said this. Why did they say this? Oh, I don't know. I didn't ask that question. Okay, where did they go on their last few trips on their vacation? Well, they went to Jamaica. Oh, you went to Jamaica on your last vacation? Yeah, I was telling them all the places. Well, nobody cares about what you did. It's about what they did. So where are you getting at, boss lady? Here's what I'm getting at. That every time you interrupt someone, you are teaching them to give you short answers. And therefore, you won't be able to get all the data that you need. So even if you interrupt and you may say that I'm excited about it and you jump right in it's not your intent to cut them off, it puts them on the defense. It's like, okay, I got to get my little answer in because I never know when the text is going to be shut down. And then you won't get what you need. Now, when folks tell me, I'm doing the animation, that's you having your own party. But you can do the excitement and animation, if you will, and it's called facial confirmation and validation. So there were a couple of times, Kwame, where you were dropping some good gems, and I did like this. Wow, I did the eyebrow flash without saying a word. That was good. So that indicated to you, wow, Linda liked that because I gave you facial confirmation. I affirmed you. You can do that. So the individual who's that way, mom, dad, the family got used to that. But now you're having a problem in the social world. And now you have a problem at work. You have a problem with your team members. Every time they try to come in and share something with you, what good does it do? They're not going to listen. They're always interrupting. They always got the answer. And you're going to miss out on a lot of things. So you can lean in, bring the hand to the chin. Then you can make notes, all this without saying a word. So let's say you're saying something great. Kwame's like, oh, I'm going to watch this. I'm leaning in. And then I go like this. By the way, for those that are listening, I'm all of a sudden sitting back abruptly like, oh my God, man, that was good. I can do that with my expressions. But what I'm doing is punctuating and accentuating the things that you're saying, like you're nodding right now. You see, so for that person, it's all about, honey, it's all about you when you do that, because that's being a selfish communicator, because you do it. You say this is what you do, and it says this is who I am. But what about who I am? What about who I am?
This is so important because I think really what it comes down to is recognizing that all of the things that we're talking about are skills. If we just say, hey, this is who I am, then none of us would ever have any skills because no baby is born with skills. So if authenticity requires you to never change, then run away from that person because they are stuck in infantile levels of development. But
Yeah.
what's interesting is that sometimes the other elements of our life can improve, and we believe that it can and should. But for whatever reason, we might have a growth mindset in these other areas of life, but a fixed mindset when it comes to facial expressions.
Absolutely.
It's like this is you identified a systematic skills issue that can be solved. That's the thing. And it's for me, the way that I think about it is that when it comes to my expressions and body language, I want to utilize expressions and body language that encourage the person to speak more and try to avoid the ones that diminish the likelihood of the person being willing to speak. Because we've often talked about listening non-judgmentally, and let's say hypothetically there's a way for you to listen in a truly cognitively non-judgmental type of way, but if your face looks judgy then it's judgmental, and the person, like you said, you were listening and using expressions that shut down further communication. And so it makes it very hard for you to connect, again, going back to being present, because you're living in your own emotional world, not connecting with the person in front of you.
Absolutely. I love it when you said if your face looks judgy, and you'll see how they respond. That's okay. That's because I know what you're thinking anyway, and you don't. And they automatically you create that narrative because your face look judgy. So it's just and you got to ask yourself, are you judging them? Because why are your facial expressions? Are you truly being authentic? So you're exactly right. A lot of people, when they read the book, one of the things that people who have experienced or seen me do presentations on stage, they'll come up to me afterwards and they'll say, I've watched you and watched your videos and watch when you bring people up on stage. And here's the question that I get. It never fails. Every single presentation I've done over the decades, people ask me this question. They'll look around, and I love it when they look around, because when they look around, I do this too, Kwame. I'm looking around. Who's coming to get us? You know what I mean? Let them know that they'll start laughing. No. And because they're looking around, because they're trying to escape if I should say this or not, because I don't know if I would offend the speaker. But they're looking around, and they'll go like this in their little whisper voice, and they'll ask me this question. Are you psychic or clairvoyant? I get this and for those that if you see my videos that are out there, I get this every single time, where we've had grown men and grown women cry on the stage, all because something that takes place. And I talk about, excuse me, some of the strategies in the book, but the key is being so present that when I'm in their proxemics and I'm in their space, that I'm literally connected to their breathing pattern, then I'm literally changing their breathing pattern. That's how powerful you could be. So what I will ask a series, I'll bring people up on the stage, and I talk about this in the first few chapters in the book. I'll bring people up on stage. I'll ask for volunteers. And what I love is I want volunteers. They have no idea what they're volunteering for. They're just thinking, I want to play. I want to play. She's fun. She's a kidult. I want to play. So they run up on stage, and I'll have everyone they're looking, and I says, it's very important that you're able to follow instructions. So I'm going to give you a command to do something. To the audience, I need you to take notes. And for those that are sitting beside these individuals, please take copious notes for them. I'm going to count to 3. And when I get to 3, I'm going to say to you, I need you to freeze. You are allowed to breathe, but I don't want you to move. Excuse me. If you move, that means from a body language standpoint, you are still talking. Okay? And so they freeze, right? Now watch. They're breathing. And then I go down the line. The audience is watching. So no one's texting or tweeting or anything like that, because they're thinking, oh my, what's going on? And I go down each person and I'll ask them a question. Remember, I told them to freeze. This is one of the things that makes me different from any other body language expert out there in the world, because they need movement. Oh, she scratched her head. They did this to be able to give definition of what's going on. Yeah, I do that too. But I'm doing something special to prove a point to the audience. And then I'll begin to ask them a series of questions. And it's amazing how the surrender of tails begin to take place, even by the way they're standing. One side of the body is feminine, the other side is masculine. And I'll ask a question out of the clear blue like this. So who in your family, or who is the female that you've been a caregiver of? And Kwame, They're breaking down. So the audience is freaking out. They're breaking down because they're thinking, how in the world does she knows that? Because I know what's going on with different parts of the body. I know what's taking place when I'm looking at the individual by the way they're standing and what's going on with their facial expressions. And if I see as I'm beginning to ask the individual from questions from individual number one, then number two, subconsciously, unconsciously begins to lick their lips and then do lip compression. Lip compression is when you bring the lips together real tight, like you're biting your tongue. Then I'll go to that person and I'll ask them, have you ever been in a situation where you wanted to say something and speak up, but you were holding back? You see what I'm doing? You see what I'm doing? And so the audience is freaking out. They're losing it. They're losing it. Then, of course, number 3 and number 4 getting nervous. Like the guy's probably thinking, oh my God, is he going to tell me what I did last night, you know? But it's because I'm present in their presence. Even the way I'm looking them in the eye, even the way I'm using my tonality and my pregnant pauses. And there'd be a point, and if I see their eyes water up, I don't want to go there. Then people bringing out tissue, whatever. And it's just, and so you'll see that in a lot of my videos. But what I'm simply, and what's amazing to the people, and I talk about it in the book and give you things to watch for, but what's amazing to the people in the audience, they go like, oh my gosh, I work with him. I work with her. You nailed that person. This is what's going on. And they nail it. So can you imagine if someone can walk in and know your son, your daughter, your wife, your husband, your mother, your brother, your sister, your team members, and find that hidden treasure, unlock that treasure, and able to get out information that you didn't know after being with them from 10 years or more? Wouldn't you not want strategies that would help you become a better communicator, a better human being, or better yet, a better human becoming? And that's what I try to do.
Oh my gosh. This is so good.
Okay, so good for you. This is coming up on one of your last shows. I have to do good for you.
Thank you. You're bringing it. You're bringing it. Simone, I got to bring you in. I'm being selfish. I just can't stop asking questions. This is so good.
Well, I'm from South America. I'm from Venezuela.
Yes.
And when I came to Canada, I changed the way I was, or the way I am now. I was more confident in Venezuela, and then I came here and it changed because I realized that that it was very difficult for me to express myself in English. So I can potentially make a mistake in every word, and now my tone is not intentional anymore. So when I speak to people, it's very difficult, even for small talk, because, for instance, in Venezuela, we don't talk about the weather. Right. So the weather is the same every day. And here the weather is different. So people talk about the weather. I don't talk about the weather. For me, it's boring, it's difficult. So I struggle to be confident as I was in Venezuela. So if I want to change that, do I have to start by improving my English or by improving my nonverbal communication? Which side is the best one to start with?
So I'm going to give you a couple of things. So here's what you want to remember. People here, number one, people in the United States, we love people with accents. We have attraction to accents, okay? Number two, most people coming from other parts of the world, they're bilingual. And, and we're trying to get that for our children. And so like when I'm practicing my Spanish, when I get validation and I'm practicing my Spanish, I feel really good because, I'm making an effort, an attempt. So here's what you want to remember. If you can write down this word TAP, T-A-P. So think of T as in Tom, A as in Apple, P as in Paul. These are the acronyms. So the first letter T, continue to be your truthful self. Be truthful, because when you're truthful, the brain is saying, okay, we're going to flow with you. We're going to send all the signals to the right parts of the body because you're being who you are. A is for authentic. When you're authentic, people say, man, I like you. You are for real dude. I like you. And when you're truthful and authentic, and the letter P, it shows up in the proof. It shows up in the proof, and it allows you to be consistent every day. Now, there is a saying that goes like this: when in Rome, do as the Romans do. Now, remember, if I was in your country, you know what? It's nice every day. I can get spoiled. The weather's beautiful every day. But you're in a part of the world weather changes, like in the United States, winter, spring, summer, fall. And here's what I want you to think about it this way. Wow. People talk about that because with each season comes also different emotions. Each season comes with different emotions, and with the different emotions comes different motions. In the winter, oh gosh, it's so cold out here. Look at this. So the most like, oh, it's so cold, man. I can't wait till summer gets here. That's a different emotion because I may not like the winter. Okay, but my motion may be like this. It's not that I'm being closed off to you. I'm trying to warm my body. So when you think to yourself, you know what? When different seasons comes different emotions and motions. Here's what I want you to think about. People also go through different seasons in their life. Different seasons. Now, by you acknowledging that, man, it makes me appreciate. So the conversation could go, have you ever been to South America? Have you ever been to Hawaii? Have you ever been to this? It makes you appreciate even more. Like back home, it was like, beautiful all year round. But wouldn't it be nice if life was like that? So when they're talking about the weather, you may want to share, it does take a little getting used to. I can empathize with you. That creates another connection versus being disconnected. You know what I mean? You're like, I don't know why they're talking about weather. There's other things going on in the world. They're talking about freaking weather. Well, the weather can affect a lot of things. Who's going to pick up Billy after school? Your teenage son is not really good driving in the snow. So there are other things that go along with it. And by you having empathy or compassion or just having awareness. Yeah, I can only imagine. Have you ever been to South America? Have you ever been this when it's like this all year round? Now you're creating a connection. Man, that's where I feel like I need to be now. But just having acknowledgement of it versus making me think, Linda, you're acting childish over doggone weather. You can't do that. You don't want to do that because it makes you come across being superior, right? Like nonsense, right? And so don't be so worried about your accent. Be more worried if you are making the impact, versus the accent. Your focus is that you're making an impact on the person that you're with, because you worry about what people think. And sometimes you overthink, my friend. You overthink things. You know what I mean? Because you're real focused. You're really, really, you can get what I call eagle eye focus. You know what I'm saying? Does that make sense? Where you get focused on the one thing that sometimes you may forget to have fun. You may forget to have fun, and you need to have fun because you can get too serious sometimes. Am I right?
Yes, you are.
Okay, I'm getting a little blush there. All right.
This is great. I mean, if somebody's listening to this and they haven't bought it yet, they must have been driving. So again, before you go, Linda, thank you for this masterclass. Remind the listeners again about the book and how they can work with you too.
Thank you, Kwame. Thank you. For those of you that want to follow me, I can hear my niece saying, follow me on Instagram and LinkedIn at Linda Clemons. And that's Clemons, Linda with an I, Linda. Clemons is kind of like the word lemons, but I'm not sour, I'm sweet. So it's CLEMONS. That's on my Instagram. And of course, on my LinkedIn, the Linda Clemons. And you got to buy the book, Hush, How to Radiate Power and Confidence Without Saying a Word. I'm telling you, get the book and reach out to me on Instagram. Tell me what your favorite chapter is and tell me if 1 or 2 or 3 things made a difference in your life. I would love to hear about it, both in writing, if you will, and you never know. I may pick up the phone and give you a call.
I love this, Linda. Thank you so much for joining us. Really appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Thank you. And good luck on your next chapter.